In this video, we're going to take a look at the Giant for Kontakt from Native Instruments. Now, the Giant is more than just a piano library. You can see it comes with the Giant NKI and then the Giant Cinematic NKI. So it can be used for not just, breathtaking piano sounds, but for very interesting sound design uses, scoring uses, so on and so forth. So right here, we have just the Giant, and down here we have the Giant Cinematic. You can see the interface is about the same. There's a little bit, a little bit different there. There we have sources. Here we have tone, convolution. Here we have anatomy, so on and so forth. But pretty much the same. We'll take a quick look at each of these, sort of just an overview of how our different parameters affect the tone. And we'll have a different video showing each of these different NKIs, just like a playthrough video where you can actually hear the sounds with no talking. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And to get started, we have to know what the hell we're talking about. So the Giant is a virtual instrument that replicates a huge 12-foot upright grand piano. Now, that sounds huge, and you might think, well, the bass response is going to be awful. It's going to be overblown. Well, it's not. It sounds really good. It's tight. Even the top end sounds amazing. Let's go and hit play here. Very cool stuff. As you can see, it sounds amazing just right there. And by the way, we have snapshots. Of course, go over here to snapshots. Bunch of different snapshots right here. So let's just check this out. We'll get back to the PDF in a minute. You see that XXL button lit up there. We'll hit play. Sounds absolutely great. I haven't done anything but change a snapshot. Very cool. Now I might want to, change the dynamic range a bit. I'd probably actually increase it a bit there. It got a little hard there. I could, mess around with the velocity. But as you can see, we have some great presets here. Now let's go to something like a, I don't know, say a concert hall. Just try that real quick. We'll get back to that PDF. Oh, right there, man. That is the sound of a concert hall piano. Very cool stuff. Okay, let's hop back in. Actually, before I do that, let me change this back to our basic Giant here. Very cool. Let's go back here. All right, so as we can see, the features, as you can see, the source sounds for the cinematic instrument include overtones, resonance, plucked piano sounds, playable release sounds, special effects, all kinds of stuff. And we're going to get to that one in just a minute. It is a crazy instrument that will blow your mind. The two instruments, we have the Giant and the Giant Cinematic Effects. Read through this if you want. Okay, there we go. Let's just move on a bit. So our common controls, basic stuff, which we're going to go through here. Selecting a preset, deleting presets, the space section, basically like a reverb section, if you will. Okay, and here we cover the Giant, just the sort of pure Giant, the tone controls. So for our color, the timbre from soft to hard, XXL. So, it's already a big sound, but the XXL button gets it even bigger with more sustain, more space, more liveliness. All right. Our tone control. Of course, we have these flyouts, which if you've watched any of my other piano overview videos like the Maverick or the Grandeur, this interface is sort of similar in how we have these flyouts here. Keep that in mind. And we're going to go over these things and just see how they affect the tone. All right. So, even pedal resonances there as well. The anatomy page, overtones, release samples, stereo imaging. And we'll come on down here to the sources page. This is of course, for the cinematic version sources. Again, this gets really, really crazy. It's a very cool instrument if you've never heard it or never used it. All right, I don't want to bore anybody going through this, but I want to make sure you're aware of some of these things that you can do. Of course, we have our little lights here, and that means that it's on. So let me just scroll down here. So of course you can turn these on or off just by clicking them. Okay, I think we've gone through this enough. Close it down and let's get on to seeing exactly how our parameters affect our tone. But before I do that, let me mute this NKI, our Giant, and come down here to the Giant Cinematic just so you can hear this. Yep, that is a piano. You see we have noises and effects on there. It's off. Now we're not getting anything. Go to overtones. Turn it off. Resonances. Of course, you can turn multiples on. Really cool stuff. We're going to get to this one here in just a minute. Let's focus on our main giant for the time being. What do you say? Okay, basic giant. Let's go ahead and just hear this again. Very cool. So now let's go ahead and start messing around with the tone, the anatomy, space, so on. Of course, we have presets here, by the way. Presets here. You have your snapshots. Okay, so you can choose them, see Dreamland, and we should have Dreamland here as well. All right. Go ahead and hit play and just mess around with some stuff. Take the color to hard, take it to soft. And by the way, anytime in the video, if you want to know what a button does, if I don't explain it well enough, just look down here in this empty gray area. Whenever I hover over a button, over a knob, you'll see exactly what that knob does. Oh, right. So the tone, as you can see, goes from soft to hard. With our XXL button. Very cool. Anatomy, or take our dynamic range down. So with the dynamic range down, that's going to reduce the differences between the lower velocities and the higher velocities. Basically, it's kind of almost like a compression, almost. As you can see, it explains it down there at the bottom. Versus if I have it really high, we have a really, really high dynamic range. Now it sounds quieter overall, but the differences between those loud and softly played notes are much larger. You hear that? Nice large dynamic range. Probably not something you'll want to use every day, at least not that wide. You might want to widen it up a bit or enlarge it a bit or pull it down a bit as well. On to resonances. Of course, you can see whenever the pedal's on, so you're really going to hear that pedal here. Hear that? Versus if I pull it way down. Very cool. On to the tone again. We're going to hit our little flout here. Of course, we have our equalizer. You can turn that on or off. We have bass, body, and air. That's basically bass, mid, and high. Basic EQ. You should know how an EQ works, okay? Adjust it however you like it. Turn it off. On to the XXL amount. Now we have less or more. Holy moly. Let's look at this. So this adjusts the extra size that's generated by our transient master there. Very cool. Turn it back off. Lower keys. Pull that down. Pull it up. Basically what that does is just adjust, well, let me get that out of the way so you can see how it adjusts the, the keys below middle C. The volume of the lower keys will be increased or decreased depending if the level knob is towards more or less. So the lower the key, the stronger the effect. So maybe you want to balance out your tone. If it's a little bass heavy, you can pull it down a little bit. Or if you want a more bassy sound, more low end sound, you can really pull that up. All right, really cool control to have just built right in. Hear the difference? Let me pull it down here. And pull it up. You can really hear the difference there. Very cool. On to the compressor. Compressor, you should know how a compressor works. And we have a bit of presets here for it. And you can see how it's going to affect our sound. And we have an amount knob right there as well. You can really pull it in. That's really hitting it hard there. Now you might want to adjust your overall level. Go to piano pop and turn it off. Let's go back to the beginning here, and we'll turn it off here in a minute. All right, ready? And that's off. Back on. You can definitely hear how it's compressing that and reducing that dynamic range a bit. We'll leave it off for now. Okay, so that is our tone section. Onto the anatomy section, pop that out. All kinds of things. Overtones, our release samples, our stereo image, our velocity, which of course the velocity is going to affect your keyboard if you're playing it in. So if you have a complete control, by the way, just choose that one so it should respond in kind the way it should. But you can definitely see how this affects. So go to soft velocity. I'm going to hit at a constant rate. You can hear, I'm not hitting it any harder, but you can see how it's responding differently. The difference between 0 and 127, of course, is going to be different with a hardest velocity or a linear velocity. And that holds true whether you're playing it in, writing it in with your pencil tool, whatever. So just hit play here. Let's go to the hardest, and you'll hear this. Okay, so adjust that however you want onto the overtones. As you can see, it just simply adjusts the overtone sample levels. Should make it a little bit more lively sounding if you want. Very cool. Our release samples, of course, you can adjust the amount there and the decay, the short or long, and they can be very long, up to 20 seconds, okay? Still going on. Still going on. Okay, I'm just gonna have to stop it there. That's gonna go on for a while. Pretty cool though. Turn it off. Then of course we have our noises section. This is self-explanatory. The hammer, the damper, the pedal, and the strings, and of course the level. You'll really be able to hear the pedal in this. The strings, the dampers, hammer, it'll be sort of subtle. Okay, but you'll definitely hear that pedal. The pedal. See it coming on right here. So that's way too much pedal, but again, sound design purposes, pretty cool. Of course, we have the repedaling and the half pedaling. So if the sustains pedal is depressed during note release, the remaining sound sustains. Of course, you can read that for yourself. And of course, we have half pedaling and of course, tuning, which I don't need to explain tuning, but we can go between stretched or equal, and of course, adjust the pitch there. And if you get things really off, and you want them to go back to their defaults, hold down Control. I'm on Windows, by the way. Hold down Control and just click a parameter. It'll put it right back to the default. Okay, that is the anatomy section. So now let's check out the space section. Of course, you want to turn that on. I'll hit play. Pull up the amount. Very cool. Of course, we have size and distance knobs and a bunch of different impulse responses here. So let's go to a spring and we'll go back to the beginning. And our distance is sort of like a pre-delay there. You might have to adjust your overall level if you pump this way up. Okay. Taj Mahal is one of my favorite ones. Just keeps ringing out. Love that. Awesome. If you hear any clicks or pops, that's just, the parameters actually adjusting in the background there. We got a lot going on here. All right, so this is the basics of the Giant. That's pretty much all you need to know. You have a bunch of impulse responses here. They're all going to, produce different sort of room tones for you. Go to vibrant. Very great tone there. Let's go to the snapshot here. Go to Dreamland. Pretty cool. Pull the amount down there. Okay, so you get the point. You can hear that still ringing out there, that giant reso. These resos are actually pretty cool. Pull the amount up here. Pretty cool stuff. All right, so that is the Giant in KI. What do you say we move on and take a quick look at the Giant Cinematic? This one will blow your freaking mind. All right, so just like the Giant, we have presets here. And of course, we have snapshots if you want to come up here to the snapshots. All right, there you go. The difference is sources and convolution is over here versus, say, space. We still have space, but we also have convolution. Okay, and again, you can always look down here if you want to know, what that does. So let me unmute that. Very cool. Make sure that's muted. Okay, cinematic. Not hearing anything. Hitting notes, not hearing anything. Let's turn something on. Overtones. Resonances. Release. Just plucked. That's cool. And noises and effects. All kinds of noises. And of course you can combine these. We can turn them all on if we want. Okay. Or just choose the ones that you want. Pretty cool stuff. All right. And of course we have a flyout here. Awesome. Reso, release, plucked, and noises, the different levels that we want for each. So you can really mix these however you want. So if I had them all on, these are overtones there. And we have a bunch of different options, so our envelope and filters for each of these. Just click on the name, and you can adjust the attack, your decay, your sustain, and your release. You have a high pass and a low pass. So we're on the overtones now. If I just turn this down. See, pull my low pass way down there, we're not hearing. So you could dial that in however you want. Adjust your attack. Have it kind of fade in there. Decay. Our sustain. And of course the release. And that's the same for all of these here. So you can really get just the sound that you want by mixing this with all of the options that you have, the levels, and of course your envelope and filters. Okay, let's fold that up. Now it really gets cool here in the convolution section. So we have our knob here, dry or wet, go all the way to dry. Of course, everything is on here. All of our sources are on. We'll take us up. Let's go up to piano noises. There we go. Go back down to dry. All the way to wet. So of course, sound design definitely comes to mind here. Scoring comes to mind here as well. And of course you have presets here on both of these areas for whatever you have chosen. So we have piano noises. If we went to giant resonance, we have a bunch of different resos here. Big reso. Go to timed. This gets really cool now. Panned. This is from a piano instrument. You don't expect things like this from a piano instrument. This is really freaking awesome. Okay, so hopefully you get how that works. Pretty cool. All kind of stuff. We have textures, instruments, reversed, piano noises, weird spaces, tone colors. Let's go to reverse real quick. I mean, that's a fade in somewhere. That's a transition scene or something right there. Really cool. Awesome. And we have instruments. This gets pretty weird here. Now you wouldn't want to play, like a MIDI phrase with this. You probably wouldn't. I mean, if you want to, hey, knock yourself out. But it sounds kind of weird. But there you go. Really cool stuff that you can do down here in the convolution section. Of course, we have a flout here. We have our equalizer, bass. We have mid 1, mid 2, gain 1, gain 2, and the air. So it's pretty cool that you can actually adjust the mid frequency there, 1 and 2, the gain for that. So the lower mids, pull those out. Pull up the upper mids. Let's just go to just our overtones there and pull this down a bit. Choose the frequency. The air, which is the top end. Okay, so moving on. Of course, you can turn that on or off. Same for our filters, our limiters. And we can sync our impulse responses there. Source level and the size. You can actually go above 100 if you want. Okay. Let's turn off the EQ for now. Let me turn on resonances. Go to our filter. So we have a high pass. Again, we're down here in the convolution section. So we can really adjust. If we're having like a real bass buildup, we can sort of pull out some of that with the high pass here. Same for the high end if it's just shrieking too much. Can adjust that. All right, so we have our filter, then we have our limiter. Again, you can turn that on or off, set that however you want. Source level, all the way down. And the size. All right, that's everything in the convolution section, and space. You should already know how to use this because it's the same as we already saw up there. Turn that up just a bit. Size up. Let's go to stadium. Go to piano resonances. So you can get some really great sounds in this convolution section combined with the space section here. Very, very nice. All right. So we also have our presets that we can choose here, or we can go up to the snapshots here and choose it here. So let's go ahead and I'll just show just a few of these here. Again, I'm going to have a different video showing this, with no talking, just going through some of these snapshots here. All right, load that up. Again, you're probably not going to want to play this with a MIDI phrase. That sounds horrible, okay? But this is for more sound design now. Of course, you can adjust within a snapshot. You don't have to leave it as it is. Go on to something else. Go to Oriental Dreams. And let's turn on overtones. And release. That is just cool. On to, I don't know, let's go sparkling clouds. Really cool, almost like a pad. Turn on the pluck there. Of course, you can adjust the levels as we already showed. That's a bit much on the pluck, so we pull that down a bit. Come over here, pull that low pass a bit. Pretty cool. Come over to the preset section. And Bat Cave is one that I really, really like. I'll turn it down. All right, so we're not going to go through all of these in this video. That will be for another video where we'll show a little bit more of what the Giant can do. Really cool stuff there. I mean, that's just freaking awesome, okay? That is the Giant. This is the cinematic in KI. We already went over the Giant. As you could hopefully tell from this video, the Giant is more than just a piano library. It's really a sound creation tool. I mean, not only do you have a beautifully sampled Giant piano to make some more interesting sounding piano phrases, you also have the cinematic in KI, which, as you heard, is just crazy what you can do with it. Absolutely love using the cinematic in KI here. Let's go to one more here. Cataclysm. Mute that one, of course. Looks like I'd have both of those on. There we go. Pretty cool stuff. You can do a lot of stuff with the Giant. Again, not only can you sound design, but it's a great piano. If I would choose a better preset here, let's go to the basic Giant. Very nice. Okay, so that is the Giant for Kontakt from Native Instruments. You can always go check it out at nativeinstruments.com, and be sure to look for upcoming videos of the Giant. Just of the Giant, no talking, just going through some of these snapshots here for both of the different NKIs, the cinematic NKI, and of course the Giant NKI. So again, you can always go check it out, learn more about it at nativeinstruments.com.